Hello and welcome to a game of Dota 2. We have got the last day of the AMD Premier League Season 2. And the last day means probably the best matches of the entire tournament. We've got the third place decider here. That's the one that we'll watch right now. Zenith versus Rattlesnake. It's a best of 3. And after this we'll be moving on to the grand finals, where we'll see Orange taking on SheeverGaming. And Rattlesnake Zenith, interesting game. Should be a good one. So make sure you I've got some food around your PC so you don't have to leave. With me, by the way, is Kanaz, who will be joining me for both series. Kanaz, welcome back to the broadcast.
Good to be here.
So, Zenith Rattlesnake, like, if you looked at the brackets before the tournament started, you'd think, well, Zenith will probably face Orange at the end. That would be the logical response that you would have from basically everybody. So Zenith being here, yesterday dropped down by SheeverGaming, was already quite a surprise. I have to say, like, I asked on Twitter what people think would what the top 4 would look like, and I checked out the bets, and I thought like everybody was gonna say Zenith third because they would win from Rattlesnake, but that's not the case. Actually, a couple of people on Twitter said that Rattlesnake would actually win. And if we look at the bets, like Dota 2 Lounge has got 43% for Rattlesnakes, so it's still slightly in favor of Zenith. It's very different from Ghost Gamers, who's got 23% for Rattlesnake, and Join Dota is a bit even again, 35% for Rattlesnake. Everybody in favor of Zenith, but still a lot less difference than I thought I would. What do you think for this match? What would your bet be?
I'd personally be betting on Zenith. They're one of my favorite teams, though, so that's probably a little bit of fanboyism. I really like Ice 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 as a player, so.
I think who doesn't, right? I mean,
people who don't follow maybe the Eastern scene as closely as the Western scene, maybe. But yeah, I think I would always bet on Zenith in this particular matchup. But Rattlesnake are a very good team as well. We saw them do particularly well during the East qualifiers,
yes,
where they made it all the way up to the wildcard slot. Obviously not ending up beating LG China in the end, but they've put on good shows lately. They made it here this far, and hopefully they get a good shot here against Zenith.
Yeah, of course, good practice as well. They'll be up against Quantic, of course, for the wildcard place. And Zenith is a good one to practice against because you don't know what to expect for them. They have very different drafts. We saw them yesterday playing IOs. Actually, both of these teams, yesterday we had 2 series. We got the semifinals, of course. We had 2 best out of 3 series. Both were 2-0'd and all losing teams. So that's these 2 teams, both of them used IO in all of their matches. So IO had a 100% losing streak. He gets banned out now, but apparently it's interesting to see both teams failing with IO. We've got the OD pick up by Rattlesnake, so the counter Razor is already up on Zenith, who have the Alchemist as well, but they're up against the Shadow Demon support, so that will be a good one for them. Bat Rider, IO, Visage, and Nyx Assassin banned, and now also the Chen and the Weaver and the Darkseer banned out.
Yeah, fun draft. We get to see all sorts of heroes. Outworld kind of becoming commonplace, but used to be like not seen at all. Sort of the dominant mid hero that teams are starting to move towards. With the nerf of bottle crowing, like a dominant mid player is kind of what we're starting to see come back up in popularity. And Outworld definitely one who is pretty much impossible to beat in lane, at least not without sufficient ganks from your side lanes, and then that obviously weakens your side lanes. I like that Zenith are sticking with the Razor that they've used multiple times in the recent past. I really don't like Razor as a hero, but they use it in that fun way where they get I've seen Aghanim Scepter Refresher come out from them.
Yep.
I just think that's so sweet.
And I think you'll be seeing him mid as well, or at least they'll try to put it up against the OD. So if there's going to be some mind games, which probably there will be, because Rattlesnake probably doesn't want their OD to be up against that Razor, so we might have an aggressive trialing from Rattlesnake and put something else mid. But of course, Razor OD is a pretty fun matchup to watch. I mean, the thing is, OD normally wins his mid matchup. Against Razor, he at least won't. He shouldn't win it. He might not lose it, but he shouldn't win it. But of course, that's something that Zenith does try to make happen. They try to make that OD lose that mid lane. So I'm also hoping for Zenith to get some aggressive supports, even though of course Enchantress has an aggressive kind of support already banned out. But I'm hoping that some aggressive supports for Zenith will allow them to move around earlier on. We already have the Shadow Demon for Rattlesnake. That could be a potential for an aggressive combination with the dual supports. Could see Alina, could see Leshrac, Jakiro, one of those three, all set up disables, or all disables after the disruption, of course. That could be happening there. Enchantress, yeah, was the last ban for Rattlesnake. I like the ban. It's understandable. They don't want to be having their OD ganked. I don't blame them.
Yeah, definitely. If you give up those junglers, especially to the Sentinel, it always feels like it's a little bit easier to gank that mid lane from the Dire Sentinel side where you rotate around towards the Dire. So they're going to take out at least Enchantress. Chen was already banned out by Zenith, so they're not going to have to worry about that one. I'm interested to see how these lanes are going to end up shaping up. Juggernaut's a hero that we've mostly seen in the mid lane, I think, as well lately, but
aggressive trailing. I believe it might have been Rattlesnake yesterday. I think it was. No, it wasn't, because it wasn't an IO team, and they played only IO. So we saw a lane yesterday: Shadow Demon, Juggernaut, Lina, and aggressive trailing, and it worked out. Very aggressive, able to get a lot of kills, and of course with that they were able to shut down the IO, which was on the other side. So it could be that Rattlesnake was the one that actually lost against it.
It's definitely a very powerful triangle lane. Shadow Demon just for the setup so that Juggernaut can get close and then any other stun. Juggernaut does a lot of magic early on with that Blade Fury. So they could try and run that definitely as an aggressive tri-lane, but they don't really know what Zenith is going to be doing yet with their heroes. They have Razor, they have Alchemist. These are both heroes that can be moved to different lanes, played in different roles. Like, you're speculating that the Razor will be in the mid lane, sort of as a counter pick to the Outworld, and that's certainly possible. Razor doesn't have as much damage as Outworld, so I don't know if he necessarily wins. You have to kind of rely on that static link, I think.
Yeah, he at least, I mean, he doesn't necessarily win, but at least make sure that OD doesn't win. So it's going to be a wash depending on how many...
Yeah. It's certainly a better matchup than some of the things we've seen teams try, where thrown heroes that don't really do anything against Outworld men, they just sit there and lose. Like Puck, I believe you and I cast a game where there was a Puck against an OD and the Puck just sat mid and was like, well, I can't do anything because OD is just trashing me. So yeah, Razor definitely stands a better chance of that. Doesn't get his damage drained. He has a damage drain he can use against Outworld. They could also send Alchemist, maybe. It's a melee hero. It makes it a little bit more difficult, but he also is a strength hero, so he isn't going to get his damage drained. I like the Earthshaker pick, though. Not a hero we see a ton of, but it's good to see him now with his facelift.
You think it's a facelift? I think it's a face down. Like, they pushed everything down, so he's more angry. I just decided that maybe it's a dog with a beard.
It's a dog, huh?
Oh my god. Do you know Elf?
Elf, yeah.
He looks like Elf.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. His head's not quite as pointy. Maybe
okay, he is like Elf's brother. You know?
Someone says I forgot my microphone game. I turned it on.
Oh.
Toggle it a couple times. Hope that fixes it for you guys.
Okay. I hope so too. But yeah, I've decided he looks like Elf. An Elf on 4s. Well, Rubik will be picked up by Rattlesnake, so that's going to be their secondary support. Of course, a Rubik and a Shadow Demon both kind of do the same thing. Both kind of are set up disables, but in this case, it actually makes sense because you got the disruption, then Juggernaut will move towards the target, as will Rubik, of course. And then the Blade Fury will do its full damage because while it's going on, Juggernaut or Rubik will be able to pick the target up and we'll just make sure it drops it on the other side of the Juggernaut so it, you know, does everything and you can't really run from it. So that's a very potent combination coming out from Rattlesnakes. I would like to see them make this aggressive. Now the Earthshaker is picked up by Zenith, they're definitely not going to be putting this aggressive. And Earthshaker, of course, a very defensive support. So curious to see which other support they're gonna pick up with that. Of course, Rattlesnake banning out the Keeper of the Light kinda removes another defensive support out of the pool. So we'll see what they want to pick up with that. It is the Storm Spirit that was the last ban for Zenith, and the Windrunner was picked up by Rattlesnakes, and the Pugna gets picked up by Zenith. What are you expecting him to be support? Never mind. I always ask too late, don't I?
Yeah, a little too late, but yeah, it's not surprising that he's a support here. I think the only other great role to run Pugna is the mid lane, and that's a terrible matchup for OD against OD. Pugna's not going to have a fun time there as well. It is important to note, though, there's a lot of spells that are going to be slung here by Rattlesnake as the game goes on, and that makes Pugna pretty good. That ward can do a lot of damage, particularly to Outworld. If he has a gigantic mana pool, and usually he just doesn't lose mana because of his passive, but if he's constantly out the spells, he'll take a lot of damage back. So it's definitely a hero that they can work with. We'll see how it ends up going for them. He's not the best support since he doesn't have a real disable again.
Yeah, he's not really one that will save you on your tri-lane if you are gonna have if you are gonna be up against an aggressive tri-lane. But of course that just remains to be seen. Let's see who plays what. Zenith on the Radiant side for this first game of the best of 3 for the third place decider. By the way, if you're wondering what's on the line, I will tell you. $500. That's third place. Fourth place gets nothing. So it's either you played all this time for nothing bar experience, of course. And of course, you don't see people standing, or like if you're ranking achievements, you don't rank 4th. You rank 3rd and higher. So you want to be getting this 3rd place. And Zenith will be trying to fight for that one from the Radiant side for the first game. Best of 3, that's what it is. Yamate on the Razor. Ice will be playing the Earthshaker. We'll have Ice, Ice, Ice playing the Alchemist. X-Freedom on the Pugna. And then last, the offlaner, it is XY playing the Nature's Prophet. And they rotate into the Dire Jungle, but they won't find anybody.
Yeah, no one is there at the moment from Rattlesnake, and speaking of Rattlesnake, I'll go over their players. We have Luo playing the Outworld Devourer. He's hanging out near the mid lane for now. We'll see if that's where he stays or if he moves towards that top lane. We also have Lanham sitting in the mid lane on the Windrunner. May also head up towards the top lane. Looks like one of those two will be up there, though. And then their aggressive tri-lane, like you were predicting during the draft, we're going to have Icy on the Juggernaut, Sag on the Shadow Demon, and finally Kabu taking up the Rubik.
Yeah, it looks like indeed Luo will make his way top. We're going up against the Nature's Prophet. Should be an okay lane for him, and indeed Windrunner then up against the Razor. Wouldn't be surprised if we see that switched around. Of course, Rattlesnake tried to dodge that Razor because they want to have their OD win the lane rather than just play it even. But the bottom lane is the one where we'll be spending most time because Rattlesnake, they need to make this work. They need to try and of course kill off Zenith. And Zenith has got, I mean, the Fissure is one of the more defensive things, and we actually have Freedom skilling the Nether Ward first. So now, if Rattlesnake go for this, they'll be already losing some health. I wonder how that will actually help out, like if it will be enough spam. Normally if you, like we saw Keeper of Light getting banned out already. That's of course because he can spam out the spells to counter initiate with damage. Is that ward gonna be doing the same amount of thing? I mean, the ward's already gone. That's already 80 mana gone. That's just how fast it drops.
Yeah, but it also burns some of the opponent's mana. Not really a ton at this level, but it does make it harder for Rattlesnake to really initiate in this tri-lane situation. The ward does a surprisingly large amount of damage even at early levels. Like if a spell does cost 120 mana, that's 120 damage for them anytime they want to use it. So you have to be somewhat careful with throwing out. They're gonna go on Cabo.
Yeah, they saw that. Yeah, he eats a tree. He's actually ISSI is gonna throw out a stun. They're gonna land it. They know that everybody Rattlesnake was away. We saw the pinks coming out. Cabo slightly out of position, but only one Fissure. That's the only disable that they really have, so they couldn't really do anything else. In the meantime, Lanham is getting harassed quite a lot here by Yamate. Oh, actually, he wind runs. He wants to go for the courier. He can't get it as well. Boom! Oh, flying courier just in time. And the first blood happens on the bottom lane. Oh, no, Windrunner still dies. Wait a second, but we're out of team bottom lane. Sagam in trouble. Sagam will end up going down. Ice on the run. Will end up dropping as well. Windrunner diving too far for trying to get that courier. And bottom lane had some action at the same time as well. Wow. Hectic. But 2 for 1 is the end of that exchange. But first blood, of course, going to the Razor. I mean, that's what you get for chasing down a courier that far with that obvious.
Yeah, and the courier got upgraded mid-arrow's flight.
Yep.
That's rough. But I mean, you kind of have to expect what's going to happen. It doesn't really take that long to purchase the courier upgrade, and they just do it, and it makes Windrunner completely overextend. Lanham gets way in over his head, gives a first blood to Razor, and that's not what you want to be doing. They move this Windrunner to the mid lane to give Razor a little bit of a harder matchup, and if you're giving Razor kills, it's not really ideal. Is giving Outworld still has the advantage top lane. That's good for them, but Outworld's really particularly likely to kill XY on this Nature's Prophet unless XY does something particularly silly.
Yeah, or if he outlevels him too far. I mean, Nature's Prophet is level 3.5, while Luo is sitting at almost level 5. I mean, that's quite an outlevel there. Luo able to harass XY away for now, but at some point, if he doesn't, that could be a kill for Luo, especially if he gets level 6 and he's got his Sanity Eclipse. He could try and maybe get a kill with that one.
Yeah, definitely Sanity's Eclipse is always a way to get kills. And here we go, initiation in the bottom lane again.
Yeah, Ice charging up a stun, looking for a target, will throw the stun up on Kabu, gets chased down by Icy, but he's tanky enough to get that one. Fisher goes down, but just defensive, maybe trying to chase down Sagam instead. In comes the disruption, Sagam doing a little bit of damage to himself because of that ward. There will be no Fisher anymore though, but the stun will still be there, and that actually gets the kill. OD in the meantime still actually the one to go down. XY able to harass enough with the Treants, gets boots. That is Luo dead on the top lane. Zenith getting ahead on all lanes.
Yeah, I wish I had been watching top lane instead of this bottom fight. The bottom fight was, it was great for
kind of standard
Zenith.
though, but
Yeah, it was great for Zenith, but it was pretty much exactly what you expected to happen. Isis just there was stun to get the last hit. How did Nature's Prophet get the kill on OD?
I'm thinking OD just overextended through a creep wave and paid for it. And too much harassment and maybe some no stick charges by Nature's Prophet. That was just overextension then from Luo. It has to have been. But yeah, Zen is getting ahead now there. That's surprising. That was the one lane that was supposed to be going to Rattlesnake at least.
Yeah, definitely you would expect OD to have the advantage of in this top lane, and I mean he still does, sort of. They're even on last hits. I expect him to start getting ahead once again now that he is back. I don't know. Whoa, that's something silly had to happen up there, and I wish we had seen. Regardless, things are going great for Zenith in every lane, getting the advantage in last hits. And it looks like Yamata's trying to get the kill here in the mid lane once again.
Yeah, static link, is it gonna be enough? Oh, yes it is! Yes it is, with the Eye of the Storm helping out. I mean, stealing that amount of damage, 168 at 5 minutes in, that's quite a lot amount. And Rattlesnake have decided that their bottom lane didn't work out, so their supports in the top trying to help out Luo by stacking and pulling. This means that Icy is by himself and might be in some trouble because of that. Lucky for him, he has got an escape in terms of the unstable concoction, but no mana actually to Blade Fury. Should be able to stay alive at least though. But I mean, he is gonna have a tougher time because his support's left.
Yeah, now that Freedom is starting to get the points in the ward, it makes it so that Icy is losing mana if he's standing here at all near the creep wave, and he's losing it rather quickly. So Punk's just going to keep putting this ward down as often as he can near where the creep wave is to make Icy's job a little bit harder, and that makes that escape in the Blade Fury that much less reliable.
Yep. We have got a Rattlesnake smoking up. They know that it's time for a change. The question is, are they going to fight it? It's nighttime. Yamate at this point is very tough to gank. I mean, he's level 8 right now, with Lanham level 5. And they're gonna try still though, perhaps. Just one disruption. Not sure if they're gonna have the damage. I mean, that's one of the downside of being on that aggressive trial, and if it doesn't work out, the levels are just so low. Level 3 on the Rubik, level 2 on the Shadow Demon. Comparing that to the supports of Zenith, we've got level 4 on the Pugna and level 3 on the Earthshaker. So one level across the board for each of the supports higher.
Yeah, things are just good for Zenith in all lanes. The fact that Razor's level 8 and Windrunner's level 5 is a real big deal. You can't afford for your mid lane to be going that poorly, especially with a hero like Razor who can really start to snowball if you give him that early lead. The static link can just allow him to do so much damage early, and if he gets some move speed up and here he has the phase boots, it's pretty difficult to actually get away from him.
Yeah, you can't outrun him. That's just the thing. Icy in the meantime running away. That is, by the way, the Fearful Alchemist that we have seen quite a lot of this weekend, and before that as well. Alchemist with the Medallion of Courage. Only 2 points in Acid Spray, but it's so very painful if he now throws out the Unstable Concoction on a target that is medallioned and stands in Acid Spray.
Yeah, it's so much damage if you can get all of those armor debuffs down on the hero before you hit them with your Unstable Concoction, and then just a couple right clicks, that's usually enough. So it's sort of becoming the standard build to just grab this medallion actually sort of getting picked up on several heroes. Weaver is another hero that's sort of in a carry role.
Kabu gets put in his proud. Fisher's there as well. They're not going to continue chasing those. Sagam sitting on the high ground, but in comes Yamate. He actually wants to chase this, gets disrupted. Might still try and go for this. Kabu not yet away. They go for Sagam instead. Static link there, and that should be the end of that. Shadow Demon gave his life for his fellow support. Very noble. Didn't have to happen. But otherwise, well, who would you rather have died? The Shadow Demon or the Rubik? Both were level 3. It's just one or the other, to be fair. Exchangeable.
Yeah, I don't think Sagan was planning on dying though. It wasn't really him just giving his life, and Lanham's being forced to run away as well. Things are just kind of awkward for Rattlesnake in every lane. They need to make something happen. I don't know that they can just rely on Luo farming on this OD and that getting there.
Icy just took a ton of damage from that from the stun, actually, from well, with the medallion, but he wasn't standing in acid spray at the time, so imagine what would have happened if he was. That's just insane. Healing ward is there. Ice, I think you might be slightly in over your head. He does have his teammates around him, but I mean, he's not invulnerable just yet. Doesn't have the attack speed just yet either. I mean, he just has brown boots, so he's just attacking very slow. We may be able to try to take the tower though. In the meantime, mid lane, we've got another couple of supports sitting there, but Yamate thinks, hey, well, you know what? I can take this. Disruption will be there, holding him back for a little while, but I don't think it's gonna be enough. He hasn't got his eye off the storm. Luckily for Rattlesnake, as the Omni Slash will still pick up the Pugna. That's at least another kill going the way of Rattlesnake. That's their second kill of the game. The second kill also up on Icy. And Icy will be the one to try and take it back for Rattlesnake. The same thing goes for the OD, who should be doing that as well. But OD, I mean, the thing about an OD is that he normally gets ahead in the mid lane, but he's not really getting ahead that much because he died. He is building towards the mechanism for his team, and maybe with that, they will be able to fight.
Yeah, Mechanism definitely a very good team fight item that they can try and go for. I don't know if it's going to necessarily be enough, though, just because they're getting out-farmed pretty heavily in all of their lanes. And a lot of the heroes that Zenith have are also very good with some early items. Alchemist finished his phase boots now, so he's getting fast. Obviously, Razor is already super fast, and it looks like he's going for Drum with a Bracer pickup, so going to be even faster here. I don't know, it's going to be kind of hard. I think Zenith are just going to go with the face roll, charge into the team, and say, Rattlesnake, what do you have?
Yeah, we just had Ice stunning himself twice. He did quite a bit of damage from that, but he'll actually TP home to just get himself some extra HPs back. And that's, by the way, I was talking about fast mechanism for OD. We have XY with this mechanism complete right now, and actually they're gonna go for the telekinesis was there. Yamate looking for the support, static link there up on Kabu. Eye of the Storm helping out, and that should be a kill going the way of Yamate, unless Lanham can help that. But Kabu still dies, Lanham on the run. In comes Yamate, doesn't care about towers, goes in from behind, Fisher helping out, and that is another kill, double kill for Yamate. And a tower, that's the second tower of the game going the way of Zenith. And with this tower down, I mean, this is so much gold going the way of Zenith. Ice is in this as well. He was he's farming middle. So Zenith is kind of like just making sure their advantage is getting them some control over this game and getting them some map control as well.
Yeah, I think that was a little questionable by Lanham. He moved forward after Razor had just gotten the kill to like power shot the creep wave to try and save his tower. I'm not certain why he didn't expect Yamate to just come down there and kill him.
Yeah,
it seemed really obvious that Razor was going to just come down there and kill him. Regardless, we see that Ward just doing work there against Lo. He's using the Arcane Orb and takes a ton of damage. It costs 100 mana per use. So
I have to say, I thought, like, Lanham keeps himself safe. No, never mind. XY is able to get the kill still with his ultimate. Ice in some trouble. Pops Chemical Rage. Gets an Omni Slash to the face though, but it's not enough just yet. And Ice turns around looking for Icy. Will be able to land a stun there. Still gets dropped by the Sanity Eclipse. Astral Imprisonment will keep the Juggernaut safe for a little while as X Freedom will go down. Ice running. Should be no way here. Nature's Prophet coming in from the side. Still wants to take down the Juggernaut. Might be able to do that, but the Healing Ward keeps Icy up, and it's actually not going to be enough. Fisher though, Fisher comes in, that's gonna be getting the kill. XY still alive, Rubik and a Shadow Demon brought down. Ice back in the mix. In comes Yamate from the high ground, finds Luo, and that should be another pickoff. Can he actually run? I don't think so. The GG gets cold. Game number 1 goes the way of Zenith already. 12-minute GG.
It was fast, but Zenith, they looked real good this game. And I don't know that Rattlesnake really had a strategy for coming back from this. They couldn't kill Nature's Prophet standing in the middle of 3 of them.
I really thought he was going to go down. But
well, he had the mech, he waited on it. Also, all of the mana had already been burned on the OD, and OD doesn't really do that much damage at early levels without that Arcane Orb. So it was just like a couple of supports and OD just giving him the right clicks, and he mech'd up. They couldn't get him down, and then people showed up.
Let's see if they can do better in the second game, because that's what we're going to head down to. This is a best of 3 for the 3rd place decider for the AMD Premier League 2nd season. Game number 2 I hope will be a little bit more even than this one, but stick around and we will find out back in a moment.